Thank you very much, John, for your introduction. Actually, I missed that. And thanks for inviting me to come to this seminar again. I was here last year and very impressed by all the speakers. I saw some of them here, and also, and I would like to contribute something from my work in progress. I'm now working on a curriculum, and I hope that in Hong Kong we can do something to talk about gender and sexuality in Hong Kong. I will give you a bit more details about our situation in Hong Kong. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you a red pill and blue pill if you like matrix. I believe, even if you haven't watched this movie, I believe you know this metaphor, right? Now, I'm going to talk about why I use this metaphor as well. I started my .ed study 6 years ago, and then I was very confused by all those terms. In queer theology and how to talk about queer topics in the classroom. Because from my literature review, I've come across many different terms, right? When we are talking about queer anything, right? Queer curriculum, queer pedagogy, gender education curriculum, liberal education curriculum, language curriculum. So what we are talking about when we try to talk about LGBTIQ or strict LGBTIQ as issues in the classroom. So I'd like to try using the CLIL, right? The CLIL, the CLIL curriculum to try in the classroom. So I'll focus on the what, why, and how. The where and who question may not be my focus. So what is CLIL is, or how CLIL are you? This is the content and language integrated curriculum. In my study, I try to use these four aspects to help me to plan this curriculum. When we are talking about gender and sexuality themed topics, well, okay, I will think of what to put in the content first, and then what's the language our students can learn, can pick up from the lessons, from the curriculum, or what kind of language is going to emerge in this classroom experience. The other two areas, the use of critical inquiry and dramatical inquiry in the classroom. When I was planning the curriculum, I always struggle between focus on the contents or focus on the language. I was once challenged by a convener in a university saying, well, actually, Jason, why don't you talk about gender topics in liberal education classroom rather than language classroom? It's like what's just been mentioned before, right? I'm just a language teacher, or you are just a language teacher. Why do you talk about LGBTIQ, right? Of course, there's another issue. I'm gay, of course. Like what Nelson has said, actually, perhaps we'll have to move from just including LGBTIQ topics or inclusive materials in the classroom to a more inquiry approach. I believe what you've been doing is trying to do this one, right? How to ask students to critique what's been normalized in our textbooks, in our classrooms. But I'd like to add something more. It seems, well, a lot of great researchers have been doing a lot to push the inquiry approach in the classroom. I once come across a reading from Nell Noddings, and she's been talking, she touched on just one topic on homosexuality, saying it seems there are a lot of curricula, including the inclusive materials in the classroom. And they try to use reasoning or presenting information in the classroom, so hoping that students can pick up the message. But perhaps we can try considering the affective or emotional factors in the classroom. But how? I think I've just talked about this one. But how? One researcher, one scholar in Taiwan, from Taiwan, he's a post-colonialist. He proposed this term, this idea of critical syncretism, and saying, well, in the classroom or in education, perhaps we can ask people, ask our learners, our students, to become others, to interiorize elements of others into themselves, into their subjectivity. I would just go for the last one. To become others means to become female, aboriginal, homosexual, transsexual, or transgender, working class, poor, to become animal, third world, and Africa. In other words, we use this self-othering method to cultivate empathy or sympathy. Okay, but so I think maybe drama can help. Actually, as one book I found has been a chapter has been arguing for using dramatic inquiry to add on to the critical inquiry. Of course, this book is not about about teaching gender and sexuality topics in the classroom, but I found this approach is useful. For example, you mentioned two ways of doing this dramatic performance in the classroom. One is dramatic playing, meaning asking students to imagine they're experiencing other people's social practice, like imitating someone's behavior, playing childful agents. There's another way to do this is to introduce dramatic performance in the classroom. So they will have to present or interpret the events from the imagined lives of other people. They imagine they are another person and talk about it. Perhaps it's not based, of course it shouldn't be just repeating what they've read, repeating what they've seen, repeating what they know, what they learn from the text, from the textbook, is using the text, use the discourse, right, as the starting point and reimagine if they were this or that, right? What would they do? What would they think? Well, I tried it in Hong Kong because, as you know, it's a post-colonial city, or I'd like to call it, it's now being recolonized, right, by another administration. And I'm sure everybody knows that we are fighting, right, against it. And I believe actually, a lot of my students, a lot of young people I know, they're actually pretty open-minded. They're pretty open, they're pretty not tolerant, I wouldn't say tolerant. They're pretty supportive of their LGBT friends and also human rights issue. Like these two girls, they found some information. They found that I was going to give a talk on the street in the umbrella movement, and then they just found it out and come to support me. I think the young people are already experts in media text. They're already experts in knowing things that are not taught in the classroom. It's just the teachers or researchers who are lagging behind, right? Most of our students in Hong Kong, they have never learned anything about gender or sexuality, except that one session on sex education. And they will have to do it separately, boys in one class, girls in another classroom. Maybe some of you experienced that years ago. In Hong Kong, we are still doing this kind of sex education in Hong Kong. But talking about sexual equality, gender, diversity, there's no mention of it. But they have been exposed to digital text on different gender and sexuality issues anyway. So I hope the theory, the thinking behind the curriculum is to encourage them to do critical analysis of what they see in the media, what they see in the movie, what they see in the news, to encourage critical thinking and creative response. And I found course books on the skills of curriculum, on the CLIL curriculum is very helpful. Basically, it's helping us, it puts the curriculum into 4 things. So it's like, it's now the kitchen time. We have to put 4 things into this curriculum. First, think about the content. What would you like to introduce in the classroom? 2, what kind of communication is needed, okay, to interact with the text or to interact with the teachers or with other students. 3, cognitive. What kind of thinking we can cultivate, we can develop, we can reinforce, right, or introduce in the classroom. And then the last one, what kind of culture would we like to teach about, like, you know, awareness of self and others, citizenship, pluricultural understanding. So to put it in the context of gender and sexuality, education, perhaps we can put these ingredients into this kitchen, right? So gender, sexuality, theme topics as the contents, communication, language of, for, or through language, connection, I would say we should add dramatic inquiry into it because it's easier for them to imagine if you are a female, if you are a transgender, if you are an intersex person, how would you feel, or how would people think about you? To encourage, to develop, cultivate empathy or other things we want them to pick up. I've done 2 pilot runs in this in my curriculum. One is to show a very short video clip to the students. For example, this one. She's my friend. Her name is Mo. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'll just give you like 30 seconds to know, okay, what is going on, what I showed to the students. I hope there will be sound from it. Da-da-da. Okay, so basically this video is the documentary about the life, about the struggles of an intersex person in Hong Kong. Just now I picked up a line from the previous, from the presentation earlier, that we should look locally, right? So LGBTIQ issues are not a Western thing. Many Chinese still think so. We are poisoned by the English teachers, right? We are poisoned by the Westerners. But no, our friends, our intersex friends are right next to us. It's just that you don't know. 1 out of 2 to 3,000 people will have 1 intersex person. So can we imagine what life is like in their life? Okay. I think just volume, right?
Next one. Up there, Jason.
This.
Jason. Up there. Hi. Yeah, there.
Okay, thank you.
We might be having a problem with the sound.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Yeah, subtitles. All right. So basically, it's about Small telling people about her life, what struggles she's been through. If her life in her teenage years, and now what she's been doing. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, if you're interested, I can give you the link later. After watching this very short documentary, 5 to 6 minutes, I asked the students, create a timeline of the timeline of this person. Okay, so the cognitive skills they will have to develop, right? Is understanding, summarizing, producing. Okay, in another format, that's easy. That's very easy. Okay, to some students. Okay, but of course we will have to teach them, how to summarize the language to present life history. Okay, that's the emerging language. Maybe this student needs needs this skill, right, to write the timeline, another student needs another thing, but it emerged in the process. But what's more interesting is that I asked the students to imagine they are going to write a letter to jot down a few questions for a doctor, the doctor who's going to do operations on the intersex person's body, because for the gender or sex reassignment, maybe 20, 30, or 40 or more operations have to be done on an intersex person. So I asked the students, if you are now 15 years old, you are small, you were small, right? You were that person, okay? You were, what kind of questions would you like to ask your doctor before an operation? Okay, so write down a few questions. And then another thing, sorry, I forgot to type. Another thing is, now you're 15 years old, right? I want you to write a letter to your parents. What would you like to tell your parents? Okay, and the purpose is to encourage self-othering and empathy. Well, after this activity, I talked to the students, and then one of them said, well, not enough, I actually want to know more. Okay, actually, I think that's what I want. We cannot teach everything in the school, right? If we can arouse the curiosity in the topic, that's good. The other thing is, he emphasized the feeling of that he felt very confused when he was watching the documentary, and he was still very confused, and even said, or he felt lonely when he's writing the letter to his imagined parents. Okay, so perhaps after this pilot run, I think maybe, well, is it a good thing for us to, well, perhaps it's good, well, we have a purpose, right, to encourage, to develop empathy in the students, right? But sometimes they feel confused. Is the confusion good or not? Is the negative emotions good or not for students learning about gender and sexuality topics? I'll come to this one again. This is my second pilot run. This is from, I show them documentary, but of course not the whole documentary. Gentlemen here have a copy of the DVD. Okay. Okay. So I just show them two clips from the YouTube. One is the trailer. The other one is a documentary of this movie, a documentary of this documentary. Okay, an interview with the directors and the people in the documentary. I don't think they has a.
I'll get the technician after this.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I show them this video clip on this documentary. Is called My Way. The original Chinese meaning of this title is the male Dan. Dan is a sort of equivalent to the soprano, a diva, in Italian operas. Right? Is it? Am I right? He's my personal assistant. Sorry, am I right? Sorry, my partner. Am I right? Dan, or Dan. Right? So this documentary is about two boys. Oh, here you go. You have the English subtitles. Good. About two boys still. And their struggle to play the male Dan in the Cantonese opera, which is very, very, very rare, but they are very talented. They sing very well, but they feel the pressure from the parents, they feel the pressure from other performers who were ladies, who are ladies, female dance, but they are male dance, right? Okay, so after watching this short documentary or the clips, they will try to figure out, okay, what is the things happening to them. They're trying to transgress the male-female boundary in their career, right? In Cantonese opera, they need to compare the fates of the two boys. One has a very supportive father. The other one, this boy, doesn't have a supportive mother, okay? And her mother said, it is gross, it is disgusting for you to put on females' costumes, right, in the opera. So I asked the students, okay, now role play. One, one of the boys is approaching 18, I think. I'm just guessing, 17, 18. And you're having a birthday lunch, right, with the two boys and the parents and their parents, right? So 4 people, right, in a group. One is Tam. Tam is the one with a supportive father, okay? Wong, this guy, okay, has a very unsupportive mother, okay? And there's an instruction, well, in the pilot run, I played Wong's mom. And then in the first round, okay, in the first round they have the birthday dinner, the birthday lunch, and then I was, being vicious, right, and criticized the boy, right, my son, right? Don't you feel ashamed to put on females' costumes? Saying harsh things like this, or saying, oh, my friend's saying you're gay, right? So what do you think about it, right? So I was being very vicious, and then the boy, of course, one of the students playing Wong, right, started to defend for himself, right? And then the tension, I could feel the tension, and all of them feel the tension. So after like 5 minutes, I asked him to stop, okay, pause. Now I give you 3 minutes, right? So the students, right, the group of students, discuss how you can better handle the tension. And then the mom left the room, that's me, right? Left the classroom, and then 3 minutes later, I go back, right? The mom go back, okay, round 2. Now we rewind, and let's do it again, right? And then in the second take, there are very interesting changes in the interaction. And then I found that the students, right, trying to reduce the tension by saying things, by spinning the same message, right, by focusing on the positive things in this in their career, in this dragging career, right? And then afterwards, I asked the students why do they do it, and there's a lot of interesting things going on in this take 1 and take 2. And I start to realize that actually maybe we can harness the power of emotions, and now the emotions appear in the drama. If we don't have the drama, those emotions wouldn't emerge. And perhaps we can harness these emotions, right, in doing social justice education. Perhaps like Sembilas, sorry, I don't know how to spell it. Sembilas, right, has been writing for years and doing research for years, arguing for pedagogies that can use the emotions in the classrooms. And why not in the English classroom? Why not harnessing emotions in social justice education? We are actually now doing it, right? Would there be a chance for us to create a space, this imagined space, this third space, right, for us to, for students to know how to understand the gender issues, but also to learn the communicative skills to communicate with other people, right, on these topics, which is one of the things I want to enhance in the students, right? The feeling, the ability to empathize, to sympathize with other people. I think that's more than the purpose of critical inquiry, not just asking why, but also to feel for other people. I think maybe that's the care ethics, right? If that's the feeling of care that can help us to do things in other way, right? So it's not just the blue pill or red pill, perhaps both pills, right? Perhaps both reasoning, critical ability, and also emotions, our dramatic inquiry can also help us to do gender or sexuality related topics in the classroom. I think it's time now. Thank you very much. If maybe we don't have time for questions, right? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It sounds like you do some really interesting work in your classroom. I think we've got time for one question. So, Sheila, if you'd like to ask your question. Don't worry, there will be time, again, as I said earlier.
I've seen you last year.
I noticed that some people are taking photographs of the slides. We will make all the slides available on the website afterwards, so don't think to, they'll be hopefully there tomorrow or the next day.
Thanks, Jason. That's really exciting. Really interested in that work. And what I just wanted to know was, what was the context of your students? Can you tell me, this was an English language classroom, an English language course? So where was that fit in with other work they were doing?
Because I'm going to do a test in the classroom, so I haven't used it in the in a compulsory classroom they are taking. It's an extra thing at the moment. Yeah.
So these are
they are 18 to 20 years old students doing sub-degree programs.
Right.
Yeah, in Hong Kong.
And what kind of level are we looking at here?
I think it's intermediate to upper intermediate. Yeah. So some of them may need more help with the language, with understanding the content, but some of them are pretty proficient enough. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks again.
Thank you.